which is the sense that like you'll never be able to walk in someone's shoes. So if someone explains an experience to them, you just defer to them. Like you just understand that you won't understand it, so you just have to accept what they say as fact. And I think that that's something that's really, really hard for people to do for whatever reason. Like when someone says like, I can't come to work, like, you know, like I just had a panic attack. Like, you know, like I've heard someone have a panic attack, like you're fine afterwards, like you can operate, like why not just defer to them and understand that you can't experience what they're experiencing ever, so you just have to take their word for it. And that's something that is really, really awesome and more people need to do, because just by hearing someone else, like you learn so much. Like and I just want to do that through my entire life, like meet everyone from different walks of life, so then I can somehow find a way to apply it, and like maybe the empathy that I've learned in someone else, I can apply it to another person and really get to a different layer of a relationship through that. So I think that's something that's really cool.
Yeah, I think you're going to be great with people. That's my insight from that, is I think down the road you're going to be very well-rounded when it comes to handling any kind of situation that comes at you. Because you're talking to me, and I feel like at your age, I feel like I'm talking to someone either my age or more mature than me. So that's awesome. I really want to explore this potential guy that you were hooking up with as well. So let's talk about your high school experience, and if you're willing to go into it. Obviously, I'm not going to force you to. It's all about consent here. But if you want to talk about some of the sexual relationships or some of the relationships in general, however deep you want to go, talk about the university experience, coming away from, going away from home, being sort of at UWO for your first time, because UWO is known as like a party kind of school, right?
Yeah.
And talk about some of the activities that you do as well, and some of the dating experiences that you had. Let's just hear how it is to be your age, a student dating. Let's talk about that for a little bit, especially when you come from a different background. I mean, did you find that Western was a little more diverse than you were used to or was it still like, I'm the black girl and these are the white kids? Has it been that way the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Western is a snowflake town, unfortunately. That's what we call it.
London?
Not even London, because London in itself is diverse. It's the student bubble that's not diverse. Okay,
so the student bubble is still predominantly white people. Was that correct? Okay. Yeah. So did you experience any racism at school, or was everybody fairly good?
I experience it in little bouts. I find that I mostly experience it in like I guess I can say in like a sexual way, because like if I go to a club, this literally happened to me at Frog.
Okay.
Like literally just last Saturday. It was
really fun. Okay.
So like I was like walking, like I was leaving Frog, like my friend was with the guy who she's seeing. I was like, okay, like I've served my purpose, I'm gonna go.
Okay. Yeah.
And like not even like 2 paces when I stepped away from her and I was alone, like some guy's like, hey, you know what I like? Dark chocolate. And I was like,
how does that make you feel when you hear that?
I just don't understand how people think that that's gonna work.
Yeah,
like it's
just a cheesy.
I'm like, what am I supposed to say to that? Like, yes, I love the swirl. Like I literally don't. So I looked at him and I was just like,
are you fucking serious?
I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then he's just like, no, like I really like dark chocolate. And I was like, okay, Willy Wonka, like I'm this way. And that happens like so often that it's unbelievable. Like the way like people
approach you. Is it usually white guys that approach you and say that shit? Mm-hmm. Yeah, always. Yeah. So how do you like to be approached? I'm pretty self-confident. Like, so if someone just was like, hey, like you're hot, like I'd be like, thanks. Yeah, sure.
You're right.
Yeah, fair enough. So what would intrigue you if a guy? So for all the dumb idiots out there that are approaching you and saying, "Hey, I like dark chocolate," what's the better thing to say to get you to respond?
Just like talk to me. Like I've never been like the person, like even in a club setting where like, you know, like people are like trying to hook up. Like if someone approaches me with a conversation, I'll respond with a conversation.
Sure.
So it's just like, hey, I'd be like, hi. Like,
yeah.
That's as easy as it goes. And then we talk, and then I'm like very receptive. Like, even if I think that like your sole goal is to like hook up with me, like I'll still indulge you in conversation, because like what if it's not? Like I can't read minds.
You're very wise, and I like that approach, because you're not judging, right? You could, right? I mean, you could judge every guy that looks at you, especially after being called dark chocolate so many times. But good for you. I like that you keep an open mind. And how has that worked for you, keeping an open mind through your dating experience?
Well, I don't really have a dating experience.
Okay, so let's talk about. Are you single?
Yeah.
You are single. Okay, so gentlemen, single. Just don't call her dark chocolate. Okay.
Yeah. I've had better names.
Better names. Okay, so what are some of the names that you prefer to be called?
It's funny because I like joked, and I like told a guy, like I was just like, why don't you just call me Princess instead? And then like throughout like the whole like text conversation, he was like, Princess. But you don't have to call me that.
Only if you want to.
Just call me Brooke.
Just call you Brooke. So what has the dating life been like for Brooke?
I really like, and that's something that I talk about a lot, because I really don't understand the dating culture now. Like,
yeah, me neither.
And I say now, like I'm like so old, and I had a relationship, but like, but the way I understand it is that like I really just don't know how you get past like that like hookup threshold, because like.
Is that what's going on these days? Everybody's just hooking up and that's it?
Yeah, and it's like crazy, because like you can have a great connection with someone, and then like you guys like hook up like regularly, but then it like doesn't go past that. It's like you're friends and you hook up, like the whole like fuck buddy mentality.
Yeah,
and that's fine in a certain sense, but I just won't understand that if you enjoy someone's company, you're attracted to them sexually, like why not date them? Like,
right.
It just doesn't.
It seems like everybody just wants to stay single just to see what else comes along.
Which is terrible. Like
I
did an essay on the consumerism of dating in like this generation, and like it was just like an analysis of Tinder and Bumble and apps.
I'm so
like
curious
these.
about this.
It's really awesome. I wanted to do my thesis on it, but like no thesis for me.
Okay, so tell me what you found out. What did you discover?
So there's a philosopher, and he speaks about modern liquidity.
Okay.
And it's basically in the sense that now in like modern times, we want everything to be liquid. Like it just flows through, and it never really has a stop. So we look at dating, and we want to get instant gratification. We want to see how many things we can flow through, and it just kind of never really stops, which is really sad. And then another person talks about the consumerism of dating, how we look at dating like it's like shopping online, right?
Yeah.
You see a trait that you don't like, okay, we swipe left. Yeah. You see a trait that you do like at the service level, we swipe right. Oh, you talk to a person, man, like I'm kind of bored, let me sign off Amazon.com and go somewhere else. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it really devalues the human interaction experience when you get so used to just seeing people for their aesthetics, right?
Sure, yeah.
And like this person says that like it's deteriorated, like she's very negative, and she's like, it's deteriorated the whole dating experience, like we're gonna have higher divorces and less marriages in the future, like so on and so forth. Which I don't necessarily believe, but I do believe that especially in the generation that I am in, that we definitely really have a problem with connecting at deeper levels, and it's almost like we're scared of it. Like intimacy is something that people don't really get to find now, because everything is so fast paced. Like your internet doesn't work for 5 seconds. Like you're like,
yeah, no, I know. I've had that happen today. The intimacy thing is really interesting that you bring that up, because intimacy is something that is very, very. Like you're right, it's hard to come by these days, but the reward when you find it, there's nothing better. There really isn't, and it's depressing and it's disappointing that people are so focused on this surface level shit. And I mean that's why this is here, is at least people are getting to know you, right? I mean, yeah, we posted your picture and everything, and people might have seen like, oh, she's pretty hot, I'll tune in, but now they get to know a thing or two about you, right? And what you've been through, and the fact that like obviously. You have a great head on your shoulders. You've had some struggles dating so far, but it seems like you've got the right idea.
And I've met some like great people. Like, you know, like I've Done my fair bit of hooking up.
But have you ever wanted more? Have you ever had more than hooking up, or has it just been?
Not recently. Like when I was young, like I had like a boyfriend, but like I was like.
I like how you put that in quotes. A boyfriend, okay.
Hey Jeremiah, what's up?
Yeah, okay.
But I haven't had anything that's gone past like the hooking up point. Like
really,
what is 19 of them.
What is it that you want? All 19 of them? Is that your number? Is that your hookup number? 19.
Yeah, 20 is gonna be my husband.
20 is gonna be your husband. Okay.
That's like a joke that me and all my friends have because they're like, Brooke's saving number 20.
19, good for you. So, so these
Sorry,
are just
Mom.
these are just hookups. So you never found anything deeper.
They were a good amount of them are my friends, and like I'm happy in that sense that like they respected me. So I never, not for all of them, but like for a good amount of them, like let's say like 90%, like they were my good friends, and like we had a good understanding of like what the relationship was. But like there's always like a little part of you that's like, oh, like they're like attracted to me, like, you know, like we hang out together, like you enjoy my company, so it's like, why aren't we dating? Like but then like I feel like I've like conditioned myself to just like push past it. Like even like the guy who I most recently was hooking up with, like literally great guy, like he hangs out with me, he likes my roommates, he likes my friends, like me and him like go out to the bars together and then come home together. And then like a part of me is just like, I don't like, why aren't we dating? Like it doesn't make sense.
So why aren't you dating?
Well, he's graduated now, like he's back at home.
Okay.
And like me and him like had like a brief conversation about it. He doesn't believe in monogamy, which I'm like, that means that you're scared of monogamy. No one doesn't believe in monogamy. It's like you're saying, like you see a unicorn in front of you and you're like, oh, like this is unnatural. Like I don't believe in unicorn. Or you're just scared because you've never seen one in person.
Fair enough. Monogamy is something that is obviously doable. Lots of people are doing it. It's not easy. And the more that I research it, the more that people seem to be saying at the base of it all, we're just animals and we're not meant for monogamy. But we also have a conscious brain and we have feelings and emotions. So that creates, you know, a worthwhile relationship and staying open and honest and truth and loyal to each other, really. But it's not for everyone. And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like the younger generation is all into hooking up, and really that's it. Because even the younger generation, when I talk to some of these women, even if they do have boyfriends, and I find out they have boyfriends, they make themselves very available in that moment. And I don't know if that's a common thing or if it's just, I
don't know. Like it's such a weird dynamic because like I'm like a very like sex positive person. Like I love having sex, but I also really enjoy the relationships that I have with people. So it's always very confusing to me, like why for some reason like people don't want to have both, because I've never been in love before, but my understanding of it is that it's something like brilliant, like and something that's like, of course, hard. You have to work through things, but you work through every single relationship in your life. Like you'll do anything for something that's worth it. I'm like, love is worth it. Like
you've never been in love?
Nah.
Really?
Like Jeremiah, maybe. Like
maybe.
We were, like I said,
give him a bone, toss him a bone.
God, he's in the O now, so if you want to marry me.
Well, listen, keep your positive outlook on life and keep that going into the future, because there are guys that still believe in it and see the deeper meaning. I think that this is a phase. I think that it will blow over and it will pass. I hope so. Because people are I mean, there's lots of sex happening, which I guess isn't a bad thing as long as it's consensual and as long as people are having fun, make each other feel good. But if you really want to get to a deeper connection and you're going to start to feel things that you haven't felt before, I mean, when you're in love with someone and you're experiencing all these different types of sex, so you're kind of like exploring each other's bodies in new and exciting ways, you're going to feel things you've never felt before. It's not going to feel like your hookup sex. It's going to feel deeper. It's going to feel better. It's going to feel more connecting. And that's something that people are missing out on by just these random hookups and fucking chuck kind of mentality, right?
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but like I say, like if something's worth it, like I feel like people will make the effort. Like that's like my dream, like whatever. Currently I have like a crush. Those are I love having crushes. I think they're so fun. And it's so funny because he's good friends with like my really close guy friend, and like I talk to my guy friend as if like me and him are already dating, and like it like drives him nuts. Like he's like, you're actually psychotic, and I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, me and him, I'm gonna say his name and like he's gonna know.
Yeah, you don't have to say his name if you don't want to.
I'm the worst name dropper. I do it all the time.
That's okay. You can drop first names. We try not to drop last names here. We don't want to spread anyone's business too much, right? But well, I appreciate you being so open and honest with your relationships and your sex and your 19 all guys, or have you experienced with women as well?
Nah, my friend, like this whole like semester, like she's